you go out, you do your missions, you always come to the home tree.
Exactly.
And like you craft, you see all the happy people live there. So it was always this kind of like happy place, and now it's gone. It's destroyed.
Completely gone. Like we worked in a way so that we can express as much as possible the sensation of more desolation than devastation, I'll say.
That's a better
because
word for it. Yeah.
right now Solek is completely alone during this part of the story.
Ah,
so
the home
everyone
tree.
is taken. The destroyed home tree.
This is also another one of those like almost a similar beat. Like you leave the tap facility in the main game, you get to the home tree for the first time,
Yeah.
and this is sort of like like almost an homage to that, and you get to do the same thing but in a slightly different tone.
A little bit different, let's say. Because actually we start with everything lushy,
Yeah.
nice. And those moments are also, of course, amazing while we see it. But then like having this contrast was not easy to not make it just a different model. Like it had to be an experience by itself.
Yeah, exactly.
And everything worked out to make it happen. So I say we can jump down,
Do it.
go through the mission.
I love jumping off cliffs in this game.
Yeah, here we can see how the lighting has been specifically
Catered
made,
for this, yeah.
just to illuminate and have the right amount of contrast, signaling for the player where to go and how to actually manage the visuals to encompass all the narrative of it. So that was one of the things that we could make more compared to the main game, because by being by itself more linear, we had much more freedom in that sense. So yeah, here we have the mission where we have to enter the home tree.
The home tree has been completely captured by the RDA
Exactly.
and turned it into a base.
Yeah, like for now we see the RDA outside, so we say, okay, so they took it. And then we are gonna discover that someone else is also inside there.
Nice.
Finishers are so fun. Like the thing that I tried instantly when I integrated were finishers.
Oh yeah.
Like I remember when the animation team and gameplay team integrated the first version of the finishers, I started to try all of them in the Jeep continuously. They were so cool.
That's very satisfying.
Yes.
And lighting here, it's really nice.
Yeah. Perfectly angled for the
this,
moment.
This is also a path for the player. You kind of
Exactly.
like cater him to walk towards this totem.
So this one likely it's one of the paths that we can take.
Yeah.
Because again, yes, we went much more linear, but Direction wanted always to have the possibility to give the player the chance to choose where to go and how to approach it in different ways. Because this is also the core of the game, also from the main game. And the idea was to not lose it completely. So we can pass through here, we can pass from the left,
Yeah.
you can pass from the center. You can try to kill everyone. It's gonna be difficult, but you can do it if you want. But they are like, whenever we see moments like this with the lighting, they're being altered to also work for all those other moments. So we never fought only on one variable, but on multiple ones. And here are likely, we can start to see the lighting of the interiors, and there where the biggest difference happened from the main game. Between the DLCs and From the Ashes and the main game, there has been a lot of development on how we wanted to handle all the dynamics between interior, exterior, and partial interior. We have a system, right, to handle all of those.
Yeah.
That is called room data, from where we can tell each area
if it's indoor or outdoor.
Exactly.
And we can exclude things like environment, like fog. It's also for audio as well. We have audio room data, so to get the proper reverb and audio bouncing.
Yeah.
So
Performance-wise as well.
performance as well for culling objects, indoor, outdoor.
Yeah. And we used it also for lighting on the exposure side, like you said, where we wanted to lock the exposure. Instead, like whenever we go outside, if you try to hang around and go around in the world, you can see that the exposure moves like a real camera.
Exactly.
Right? Like a GoPro effect, let's call it.
Keeps adapting in and out.
Exactly. So to make sure you can have full visibility, especially in a really complex environment, like it can be the Kingler Forest.
Yeah, and you don't. Yeah, and in this case, you don't want to have that camera go crazy.
Too many variation creates much tougher navigation. I made that rhyme, I didn't want to. So here we can see likely that even if we go to a really dark area to a much more lighter one, it remains all stable. And that was really intentional, also art direction wise, to maintain the consistency of the area. So we can show perfectly where we want the player to be.
And this was one of those destruction events with baked destruction that you showcased here.
Yeah, like we have a lot of them, like smaller one like these ones in other areas, like in Tab. And then other bigger ones, like it can be the Mastodon one. It was a huge one.
Yeah, that mission was intense.
Yeah, really intense in all departments.
Yep. Not just for the player, but also for the developers.
Yeah, especially I'd say for the developers in that case. Like a huge 30-meter thing, like breaking through walls.
Metrically, it was a huge challenge because he was a huge NPC.
Yeah.
And like how they navigate, and when they swing his tusks around, and like, okay, it has to break stuff.
Yes.
So we have to make space. We have to make objects around that they can destroy and like disable nav mesh and like open up space or like remove collision, so that the player also notices, oh, I can now move through this before I couldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
And now it's destroyed, so now I can. So there was a lot of these systems we had in play for like checking nav mesh for the NPC pathfinding and stuff. So like other soldiers that are smaller, like they can also now walk through something that's been destroyed. So there was a lot of this stuff that we had to figure out for the game, but also specifically for the Mastodon mission, which was this huge thing, tank of an animal, like crushing everything in its path.
Exactly.
And this is a nice. This is a nice blue-orange moment here, right?
The typical lighting blue-orange. So here, likely we can see the first time we start to fully showcase the Ash team, the Warang clan.
The presence,
their presence, and they are likely establishing themselves in here. And we wanted to showcase it as much as possible with lighting, like showing some hope from the top, while showing all the devastation on the ground.
And all the things you knew about. Yeah, and you remember these places if you played the main game too.
It's all lushy, everyone, it's chilling inside of it.
My crafting table.
And now it's all gone.
Yeah.
Almost, let's say. But yeah, likely this one was one of the biggest contrast moments that we wanted to give on top of what we already showed with the vista of the entire world. Because in here, the player understands, okay, things are completely different. Everything is gone. And then in here, likely we navigate in it. And we can experience it. So also modifying the home tree has not been easy. Likely.
Yeah, it's a very complicated structure actually. Yeah.
This one I knew it was about to happen, so not fair on me.
And building the home tree was a challenge because it was such an organic network of like space and compartments, and how we do streaming and culling was a significant challenge. But we figured out a decent balance on how to mitigate. Like we had different types of NPCs that were slightly cheaper, that were just hanging around doing like some basic animations that weren't really interactive. You know, they didn't have any paths; they were just hanging out. So we spent more of them around the areas, spread them out, so they really give this kind of lively feeling of the home tree. Yeah. So there's different approaches we had to do, but the navigation part and cutting up the mesh in pieces in order for the streaming to work was also a challenge. But we managed to figure that out too, which is great.
I mean, the performance in here like shifted from a lot of NPCs to a lot of more objects.
Yeah, that was
and VFX.
true, because
overall.
the home tree was already like at a capped budget on the main game, and then we were like, hey, how about we put 2 giant RDA bases around it, real close, and we fill them up with NPCs in combat, and then also, yeah, it's still the home tree. Good luck here.
There you go. Go ahead. No, yeah, that one I remember like.
The tech art team and our teams, everybody involved with that did a great job solving that. So
Yeah.
really
No,
great.
yeah, that one was. I'll say, whenever I've seen the home tree changed, that's where I also started to feel like for real, the switch that we were making on the game.
Yeah, the home tree has always been like the sort of tome of pillar of hope of
Exactly.
the game. Always, like you go out, you do your missions, you always come to the home tree,
Exactly.
and then, like you craft, you see all the happy people live there. So it was always this kind of like happy place, and now it's gone. It's
Completely
destroyed.
gone. This one is also another cool thing that has been added, that we had to also encompass lighting-wise, those dynamic moments.
Yeah, while you're in game, there's some cinematic still happening.
Exactly.
You can observe from a gameplay point of view.
Yeah, I remember this one. It was an idea that we were implementing together with the quest designer, level designer that were working on the mission. It was like, what about adding some Warang clan, like shooting at people? Can you make a lighting that looks
Ominous.
like ominous? And then that's where we started to implement it with some ideas, using also dynamic characters to illuminate.
Mm.
Like we can see here, it's not only about orchestrated lights, it's also using the more alive
Yeah.
parts of it. Like it can be dynamic NPCs, because all of these are dynamic NPCs, are not sequences by itself.
They're just walking around doing their thing.
Exactly. So they do actually interact with the world like they are NPCs. And that has been like a huge challenge, but it was needed in order to make them feeling alive and not disconnected from the world.
Oh
So-
yeah, so this is also a great moment. We can showcase the eye shaders and skin shaders and also wetness on the character to really show like up close and personal movie-like quality is what we
Exactly.
aim for, right?
The denoiser as well, to have all
Oh, yeah.
those pores to be
the
cleanly
the
visible.
Snowdrop
like
team
it is
did a
in
great
video.
job upgrading the denoiser for our
MSD denoiser.
yeah, the MSD denoiser for ray tracing.
And here we wanted to always have those moments where we can feel the contrast and the narrative of it by still keeping all the combat beats legible for the player.
Yeah. And the contrast looks really nice with the lighting.
Yeah, but still readable in a way.
Exactly.
So that was like always the aim.
This really shows like this used to be all green on the ground here.
All nicey.
Right
Like
as the
here we
home
can
tree.
see for real the home tree now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
All the reflections you see, like all the
Oh, shit.
materials.
shoot it, shoot it. Just got a little bit of HP left. Oh, it repaired itself. Oh, no. There we go.
And now got destroyed.
It's a combination of lighting and weather that we never really had on the main game, like as
Yeah.
much, right? Or at all with this contrast. So it's a very interesting, different look. Like, what can we do to leverage the existing systems and like a palette cleanser for like the tone, right, that we're trying to give in this game. And I think you really nailed that with this these settings together.
Because those things happen.
It's dramatic.
Exactly. Like
Right?
a
very
moment like
dramatic.
this can happen in real life, not the home tree destroyed, of course. Speaking about the lighting and weather, it's
Yeah,
something
no.
that happens, but it's
sure.
not so often.
No,
per se,
exactly.
Right?
exactly.
So it happens sometimes, and when it happens, it looks incredible. And we wanted to
It's the rainbow
use-
rainbow moments, right?
Exactly. So we wanted to use those as much as we can and leverage them in the best way possible. Like you can see all the tiny little weather drips.
Yeah, we
Weather
can.
drips going down.
We should pause the game. And we can
Yeah.
go into that a little bit.
Yeah, if you want to show a little bit of the
Yeah. So
Sharingan magic you have implemented in it.
So we worked a lot on like the GPU particle systems for weather. So all the rain particles are GPU particles, and how do we want, because we don't want to place the raindrops sliding off surfaces and objects and ledges of buildings and stuff manually, because a lot of games do that, and we felt like, okay, we need something that works like that. So we looked at, what does the current G buffer do? Well, it gives us information on depth, it gives us information on the normal, and we thought, okay, how about we randomly spawn clusters of GPU rain and hit something in the depth, and then from the depth we check for the normals, and then it could slide around the normals, and we kind of like spawn and kill the particles like haphazardly all over the screen, and it gives you this feeling of the water has physics, like it's touching something, it's sliding down something, and it's following the curvature of the normals, of the texture normals, so the result of the G buffer. And in that way, we can really ground the particles on surfaces.
Yeah. Environmental destruction.
Oh yeah.
As much as I can.
Hey. Oof, brutal.
Dog tag acquired.
Nice. Got reinforcements coming.
And the fact that while we are in rage mode, we can spam finishers. That's
so
attaching to what I
satisfying.
said before.
It's
When
very
I also understood that I could spam them,
Blow that thing up.
I was always
There we
using
go.
them.
Proper way of using gasoline in this game.
And also all the
Blow it up.
dynamic fire as well. We didn't mention that they are also dynamic and they spread dynamically in the world.
That looks great.
So,
Can we leave now?
yeah.
Hey guys, thank you for tuning in on Devs Playing here at Massive. It's been a pleasure showcasing some of the tech that we've been working on, and yeah.
Thank you very much, everyone. See ya.